So we're
Thanks.
okay. So hello, there we go. Okay, so welcome everyone to Mathvi Janmotsav. Janmotsav is a combination word of Janma, which means birth, and Utsav, which means anniversary or celebration. So it's the birth anniversary of Anandamayi Ma. I don't remember how many years it's been. She was born in 1896. You can figure out the math for yourself. So we're meeting this month on a different day. We're meeting on the second Sunday rather than the third, but next month we'll be back to our usual Satsang time. And this month we're not going to do the introduction of everyone the way we usually do, because our focus is more on honoring Ma's birthday and reading about that. But first of all, I want to say that since BC time, before COVID, we haven't had live people here with us. So this year, we have some wonderful friends. Hey, Dave, you want to just kind of spin around real quick. We have some wonderful friends with us today who are local, as well as our usual community. We have a wonderful Indian family who received Diksha from Swami Bhaskarnandaji, which is the same as receiving Diksha from Mara. And some of our standard hardcore Madhuri Satsang people here, including my beautiful wife, Gloria. That's good. Here's Randy, who's always the co-host, and Reed, and Randy's mom. Okay.
And Gangotri.
And Gotri's in back there.
And
Ash.
Vassal.
Okay, so good. That's good back there. Yeah. So we'll have a little bit different format this time. I want to start, I guess we always do, reading Ma's words of assurance that she's always with us. But we're going to think about Ma's birth and how Anandamayi Ma said that she had no karma. She wasn't brought down to this earth in a physical body the way we had been because of karma, to work out our karma, that she was brought down by the desire and aspiration of mankind. Someone once asked her, "Who are you?" And she gave a detailed description. She said, "I am the Vyakta Root." That means the manifested form of the aspiration of mankind. She said, "You have this body now, just play with it. It's your doll." And so she came down out of a love for every single human being, out of the answer to our prayer of longing for something higher than this world, a deeper relationship with the divine, and knowing our own souls. Ma came in response to that. So on this day when we celebrate her birth, we should think this whole time of just the extreme gratitude we should have to her for coming, for being with us, for showing her mercy, for giving us grace. And she said so many times, we can only think of her when she first thinks of us. So she's called all of us, out of all the billions of people on the earth today, she's called us few people that know her and think of her to celebrate her today. So we should really have so much love and devotion and gratitude in our heart. So let me start with, as we always do, with just reading Ma's words to remind us that she's very much aware of us. So Ma says, "I am ever with each one of you, wherever you happen to be, but your vision is tied down to worldly matters and you have little time to direct your eyes to this body and your thoughts and actions. What can I do? But know it for certain that whatever you do in thought and deed, whether you are near or in distant lands, never escapes my loving attention. Just as at a flash of torchlight, your faces gleam forth in their bold outlines, all your facial expressions appear in my mind when you meditate on me or talk about me or sit down to pray to me." So Ma is very much aware of this right now. I want to read some more of Ma's words. He says, "For this body, the question of accepting or declining anyone does not arise. At all times and under all circumstances, in inspiration and in dryness, this body remains and ever will remain with everyone." She goes on to say, "You may want to banish this body from your mind, but this body will not leave you for a single day. It does not and never will leave your thought. Whoever has once been drawn to love this body will never succeed in wiping out its impressions, despite hundreds of attempts. This body resides and shall remain in their memory forever." I like this one. Ma says, "In all your activities and all your sadhanas, Ma is with you." She's saying this herself. Ma is with you. With perfect repose, sit still, thinking, in the midst of emptiness, Ma is with me. This will give you Ananda. Whether you meditate quietly or lying down, feel Ma is with me at every single moment. And she says again, I put this in the front of my book. For one who knows me, I am one with him. For one who wants to know me, I am very near to him. And for one who does not know me, I am a beggar before him. So Ma wants us to tune into her, because when we tune into her, she's the greatest resource of every possible spiritual blessing. The very thought of her uplifts the mind, and the very thought of her and the invocation of her name and mantra connects us with the greater fullness, which is beyond our small ego we get caught in. It connects us to the fullness of divinity. So today we're going to start with singing a Kirtan to Ma. And I think John has already put the words into the text box. So you can click on the text box, the words are there. We're saying Jaya Jaya Ma Purna Brahma Narayani Ma, which is one of her self-definitions, the fullness of divinity in human form. Thank you. I didn't do that. I hope everybody here will see these spots. Akandamandalakaram Vyaktam yena characharam Tadpadam darshikam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Bhavatapa Pranashaye Ananda Kanamurtaye Jnana Bhakti Pradayane Ananda Siddham Shri Shri Anandamayi Mata Ki Jaya Jaya Ma Jaya Jaya Ma Jaya Jaya Dayamai Ma So let's just sit quietly for a moment and feel Ma's presence and tune into the presence. Those of you who have joined us the last few years for Ma's birthday and also for our monthly Satsang will notice that our dear Pragya Hallstrom is not co-hosting with me today. Pragya, who runs the Boston Anandamayi Satsang there, she's having some really serious health problems, and I hope she's tuned in to us, but she's not co-hosting today. So we're all doing it from our California side this year. But we ask everyone, please pray for Pragya's health. She's not in danger of dying or anything, but she's very sick. So we ask for prayers for Pragya. So let's read about Ma's birth from Ma's own words. This is a wonderful document we have called Mother Reveals Herself. And it's gathered from Baiji. Baiji was Jyotish Chandra Roy. He was one of the earliest disciples of Ma back in the 20s and early 30s, and considered by all of Ma's devotees in our tradition the perfect disciple, perfect one to emulate and read his life. He was the first biographer of Ma. He left everything and just traveled with Ma and Bholanat in the early days, and eventually went to Kailash with him and received the sannyas diksha from Ma, sannyas mantra from Ma on the shores of Lake Manasarova, and left his body in Almora. His samadhi is there in the Almora ashram. I've meditated by it. It's beautiful. And Ma spoke to him a lot. I mean, he spent years and years at Ma's feet, and and he collected Ma's sayings, especially about her early life, and about the time we call her sadhana lila. That is, in the period of 6 years, when when every sadhana known to man spontaneously flowed through her body, played through her body as she watched, because she was in a state of perfect enlightenment from birth. So this was collected, and then Baiji collected and wrote it, and then over years he read it back to Ma to make sure it was correct and authentic, and Ma either approved it or corrected it. And then later, when Baiji left his body, Didi, Guru Priya Didi, who was Ma's main attendant, had this document, and she also checked it with Ma. So this is like the most authentic possible document of Ma's own words, approved by Ma, and it was just recently translated into English from Bengali and then into Hindi and then into English by the Anandamayi Archive Society, I think, and they did a really nice job of publishing it. And so we're going to think about Ma's own words. First, we'll just read Baiji's description, and then read about Ma's own words about her birth and kind of contemplate what this means to us. So Baiji starts with this. He says, once the topic of Sri Ma's early life came up during our conversation, and on my repeatedly asking her to tell us something about it, she began to speak. Now this is Ma's words. At that time, religious festivals like Dol and Durga Puja were being celebrated every year at this body's maternal uncle's place. And I think most of you know that Ma frequently referred to herself simply as this body. She sometimes said I, but usually she didn't say I because her I was infinite, and she happened to be speaking to that body. So she would say, this body says, Yeshura Kheta Kreta. During Puja celebration, when this body's mother made her offerings to the Lord in the presence of the Durga deity, there arose a prayer in her heart wishing for a child. Soon after, a daughter was indeed born to her, but the baby died after living only 9 months, this intensifying her yearning for a healthy child. So Ma is talking about Didi Ma, who's here. Mokshadas Sundari Devi, who later became Swami Muktananda. This body's father was extremely fond of Kirtan and would spend his days roaming from place to place singing Kirtan. Some wondered how such a lovable young man came to be behaving this way, no doubt causing much anxiety to his parents and near ones. His early life was spent mostly in the Kiora village, that's where Ma was born, where his maternal uncle's family resided. When he went missing for days on end, his mother would weep constantly for her only son, not knowing where he was wandering like a sadhu. Apparently, he had even taken saffron robes for a while, the robes of a sannyasi. One day, word reached his family that he was spending his time singing Kirtan in a neighboring village, and with a great deal of persuasion, he was brought back home. He had an innate love for God and for singing his praises, and was gifted with a sweet and melodious voice. The paternal grandmother of this body was an extremely devout, simple-natured woman. She died before this body was married, as per your perception. This lady, too, prayed for a grandchild whenever she visited temples. One day she visited the famous Kaspa Kali temple, where, while inwardly praying for a grandson, the words escaped her lips. If there is a granddaughter and she survives, I shall perform a grand puja to Mother Kali at the time of her marriage. The moment she arose from her prayer posture, it occurred to her that having all along wanted a boy, she had somehow actually prayed for a girl. She thought to herself, I walked all this distance to come here eager to pray for a grandson. What did Mother Kali do to me? Ended up asking for a granddaughter. Well, let it be. Let her will be done. Soon after, this body was born. So Ma even attributes herself to the prayer of her grandmother. So Baiji speaking once again. Another day, while walking beside Ma, I happened to ask, how is it possible for someone to remember things about the time of one's birth as we understand it? Ma replied, the khyal to say everything does not always come, whatever comes. So Ma just spoke through what was called khyal. She did everything through this, just basically it was God's prompting of her movements. So here's Ma speaking still. From the days of this body's childhood to the time when she became a bride, whatever she has been relating to you, as well as whatever you have seen of her from the time you have laid eyes upon her, she has always been the same. Whatever action takes place in this body only occurs to serve your collective needs. So I'm not saying that our desires, our needs, our spiritual needs would prompt her every action, because she has no desire, no karma. She's sitting there, an embodiment of divinity. She moves according to how we need it. So I'm just going to read this through once and let Ma speak, and then we'll go back and analyze it, because it's very esoteric. It is your longing to know that moves this body to talk. As you recall, at the time of a boy's sacred thread ceremony, this is the Upanayana, he is said to be reborn and attain a second life, is he not? We'll explain this all later. The mantra, the sutra, that's the sacred thread, and his new clothes together bring about a change in his outer appearance as well. Whereas here, Ma referring to himself, the emergence of a new body in the form of an infant was seen, but this is only in your perception. It is not possible for a person to grasp the essence of this knowledge without the grace of his guru or without sadhana. Where is the ability? In any case, an analogy can never be perfect. You have to take whatever can be gleaned from it. I ask her again, then how can we understand? Ma smilingly replied, how can you understand unless you receive the ability to do so? So let's go back and look at this, because it's so amazing. There's more she says too, but listen to this. So first of all, let's explain a little bit. At the Upanayana ceremony, which every young boy goes to, it used to be girls too, and also Ma reinitiated the original tradition that girls are also given. It's the coming of age ritual at 12 years old. But let's look at the way she's explaining it. So the young boy goes to, and some of us here have had the same initiation, goes to his preceptor. There's a whole fire ritual, and he's given a cleansing, and the head is shaved, the beard is shaved. He's given the Yagya Sutra, the sacred thread, and the Gayatri mantra is recited. He receives the Gayatri mantra, and then he goes in his new clothes with his head shaved and his sacred thread, and he takes Bhiksha from his mother first. And he looks like a new person, you know? And he's called a Dvija, this twice born. So he has like a new birth. So Ma is saying this. Ma is comparing her incarnation to this. He says it's hard to understand. So she's saying she was already existent, but it was like a second stage of her existence. So she says, the mantra, sutra, and the new clothes together bring about a change in the boy's outer appearance. So she says here, referring to herself, the emergence of a new body in the form of a child was seen, but this is only in your perception. So as Ma was saying, she was just there in her infinite consciousness, and in an amused way, beheld that there was this little baby child that she was then speaking through and animating like a puppet. So it's so different from our birth because we get totally identified with the body. At the moment we're born, we lose all our memory of our past lives and everything, and we're just totally in worldly consciousness. But Ma was just in her unchanged, infinite consciousness, divinity revealed, just was observing this new body, which she was then acting through. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting. Let's just read that part again. Whereas here, Ma referring to herself, the emergence of a new body in the form of an infant was seen. But this is only in her perception. It wasn't in her perception. So this goes on. Now this is interesting. Ma, when this was spoken to Baiji, they were sitting in Kankal. I'm sure many of us are going. In fact, I showed you this tree last time we were there. We were there just last February. There's a beautiful mandira where now Mahasamadhi Mandira is where her body is reposing, called the Daksha Mandira, a very famous Shiva temple where there's a whole history connected with it. And there's a beautiful ancient banyan tree there with a big stone platform around it where you can sit on. And it's right next to the Ganga. It's just a heavenly place. So, and many of us have been there. It's a wonderful place. We went there when you came to this too, yeah. So Ma says, sitting on the raised cemented base surrounding a huge banyan tree beside the Ganga in Kankal, she began responding to earnest and repeated questioning about her advent and spoke in an enchanting manner. This is Ma's words. There is so much to tell, but all is random. If indeed you want to know, then listen. About 2 or 3 months before the appearance of this body, Didi Ma, who's Ma's mother, used to have visions of numerous deities, gods, avatars, rishis and munis and ascetics. Didi Ma would welcome them with reverence and perform the vradan, that's a ceremonial reception. But let's go back one thing more. I've only seen this written in 2 different books, and our Swami Kedarnath, the head of our ashram in Omkareshwar, put this in a book that he had found it from Didi Ma's own words, and he wrote it also. He said the way Ma was conceived, Didi Ma was from a Vaishnava tradition, and every home in India will have an inner courtyard, and there'll be what's called the Tulsi Munch. It's a little raised platform, and they'll put a Tulsi plant there as Goddess Lakshmi. In the evening, the pious people will offer a little water to it, and it's considered the goddess of the house. So Didi Ma was doing the watering the Tulsi in her Tulsi Munch, and she said that suddenly she saw, instead of the Tulsi, the bright face of this divine goddess. And the goddess turned into a chakra, into a revolving wheel of light, and just entered into her body, and she fell back unconscious. It was so powerful. And when she came to, she was with child. And she later said that her husband, Anandamayi, was not even, he was off wandering doing Kirtan at the time. He wasn't even around at the conception. So that's a miraculous conception. Okay, so let's continue. This is Ma's words. In the early hours of a Friday, and it says the Friday, May 1st, 1986, time between 3:15 and 3:45 a.m. In the early hours of a Friday, in the month of Vaisak, that's April, May, inside a thatched room, this body revealed herself, the head pointing towards the northeasterly direction. The body, as you perceive it, at the moment of touching the ground, lay on her back, slightly inclined to her left side. Through the gaps in the thatched roof, this body could see quite clearly the sky, branches, and leaves of a neem and a mango tree, just as I am seeing you now. At that very moment, Kurima, which is the paternal aunt of bodies of Ma, entered the room and picked her up. She was the only one, and no one else was there. She didn't say her mother was there. She alone knows of the arrival. This is Ma's own words. She, meaning Kurima, she alone knows of the arrival of the Supreme One. Ma's Prakash, manifestation. Kurima was a very virtuous and devout woman and about 60 years of age at the time. She lived to be quite old and passed away after this body was married. So this is Ma's own words, and it's also extremely esoteric. Her mother was maybe in another room or something, because she just said she was no doubt in Didi Ma's room. In the tradition, in the esoteric tradition of Christianity, also it says that Christ was born the same way, through a virgin birth, and he just passed through the walls of the womb of his mother as he passed through the tomb later and left her a virgin. But in this case, Ma didn't just pass through out of Didi Ma's body, not through the birth canal. It just was suddenly aware. It was there, making revelation. So Ma continues. On that morning, an elderly Brahmin from the village came to the house. Grandmother carried his body in her arms and, sitting on bent knees at the door of her room, showed her to him. At that time, the Brahmin gave Ma the name Dakshayani, which means facing the south. The east. This body's head was then positioned towards the east. Looking up, she saw leaves and branches of tree and sky. So, it's another interesting appendix here. Oh, thank you. Anyway, there's another study of her birth in this book. But so it shows Ma's birth was totally supernatural and uncanny, that she was just there. And later Ma went back with devotees many, many years later to where she was born. And they found the house where she was, and she just stood on the spot and started weeping in the spot where she was born. So they later bought that place, and now there's an ashram there, and it's now Bangladesh. So that was Ma's revelation to the world, that she's now here. And the fact that she later when she started speaking, when she was 2 or 3 years old, at a gathering of relatives, she pointed to each relative and said, "Oh, you were there at my birth, you and you." And it was so there's also, so she knew everybody there at her birth. So it was like she was in full control of all her senses and capabilities right at birth. Unlike a baby, who has to kind of slowly come in and become slowly conscious. So she remembered all the things from her birth. She remembered not crying, seeing the gap. So she was with full awareness, full consciousness, just animating her body with her full divine consciousness controlling it. Now, we're saying these things, but obviously we cannot understand this at all. The human mind cannot comprehend what Ma is, who Ma is, but we can at least study these external things that Ma has told us and marvel at them and wonder at them, because the mind can't comprehend who Ma is and what her revelation is. So let's sing into the Kirtan of Ma then. And this Kirtan we'll use the words Nirmala Sundari Ma. That was one of the names Ma was given at birth. That was the main name she had, was Nirmala Sundari. That means beauty without blemish. Nirmala, without blemish. Sundari, the beautiful one without blemish. And let's we can look at Ma's photos here. This is Ma's this is Ma with her parents. Well, let me go back. Can you see where they changed that? You need to be over here to change it. Yeah, you got this. I need to move this. You need to minimize. I don't minimize that. There's a dash.
The dash on the very left. That's that blue thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to just change it after.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna go back to this. I don't know. I better find this thing. They're gonna start to share this thing. Sorry, we're having technical stuff here. Ah. There. How do we get back to where I'm there? Okay, let's try to sign that. That's all right. Okay. Jaya आनंदमयी है माँ, निर्मल सुंदरी माँ, आनंदमयी है माँ, निर्मल सुंदरी माँ, आनंदमयी है माँ, निर्मल सुंदरी माँ, आनंदमयी है माँ, जय 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 माँ, आनंदमयी माँ, जय 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 जय माँ, ओ Shri Mama. turn it back on. It's on. It's on.
That's the beautiful sound.
Now it's on. Okay.
Can't see it's covered, but,
So now let's watch a short video. It's about 15-minute video of Ma. It's a compilation of just old movies that people took of Ma. Our friend Shraddha, whose ashes are recently put in the Ganga, her husband Satya, took hours and hours of 8mm films of Ma when he was visiting back in the 70s, and a lot of them have put on video, some of those. So let's just watch Ma move. It's a wonderful thing.
to the left. To the left, right there.
Things when you started. How do I copy that? Can you go from push control C and then copy like this?
Copy to right.
Can you read that?
Yes, go up, right there. Yeah, it's copied. And then people, right click.
Thanks.
You can right click on the address bar. Right there, yeah, right click.
But it's in now. How do
Yeah,
I?
it's
Right.
pasted.
Oh, paste it?
Yeah.
Oh, then.
Yeah. So how do I start it?
It just okay.
There.
Push enter. I think we have it now.
Can't go? Do?
Wow. We didn't.
Yeah, I'm waiting to skip ad. No, do it in a
No,
minute.
no,
Oh, she pooped, right?
Okay, I'm ready.
no, there's-
That's sometimes it's the whole arm to the foot. That push button, yeah, totally, yeah. Push button. Push it coming, yeah. I see it coming with the hand.
तो भोजन करने से भी ये शरीर क्रिया हुआ कुछ नहीं करे। ये शरीर सीधा बात है दूध खाने से पीने से और भगवान का तरफ जाने के लिए और छात्विक वृत्ति है वो भाव जागरूक हो वही भोजन लेना चाहिए। ये बात नहीं हम कहते प्रभात
Push button, you need to
आगे बोलने हमारा आनंद
That's not another. That's my scene. There's something. I'm just getting. So that was just a glimpse of the wonderful divine chaos that was always around Ma. There was always this incredible spontaneity of everything happening at once in this kind of ordered chaos, which is it's part of the life in India also. It can't be described what it was like to be with Ma. It was she just her presence in the midst of us just lifted everybody up to a different realm. It was so amazing. What we want to do now is this is again as an invocation. We're invoking Ma through her lineage, through all the different ways she appeared to us. And there's an important part of Ma's lineage is what's called Jaya Hridaya Vasini. It's Ma's Dhyana. This is a hymn. We talked about Bhayaji earlier, Bhayaji who collected this book we read from. In the early days when he was meditating, he said one of the time in the middle of the night, this entire hymn to Ma just came to him all in a flash. He didn't write it himself. He said, I just saw it just came to me and I wrote it down because it's like an eternal hymn to Anandamayi Ma that's vibrating in the universe. And he wrote it down, and now this is sung. And Ma said, this is very good for you if you sing this in the ashram every day. So then, as this is part of the Anandamayi Sangha Kirtan, was sung in every ashram of Ma. This is sung every evening. And when we travel with Ma, we would sing this in front of Ma every night, no matter where we were, because Ma constantly traveled. There'd always be an evening Satsang, we'd have a darshan, and we sit with Ma and we sing this evening Kirtan, and we sit in front of Ma. And the last it says, Muramili Prani Prani Pranamiyu Tricharane. We bow at Ma's feet. It was so beautiful. So this is Bhayaji's hymn. And then I don't know if he put it in this raga or he had one of maybe Brahmachari Kamadapanta put it in this raga. But this is the raga it's sung in throughout Ma's ashrams. And can you pass it around? I guess it's pass my way. I'll sing it in Sanskrit because you can't actually know how to pronounce it correctly. But if we can, it's difficult to sing. So you have to sing it, but you can look at the this document has the words in English. John, can you please share the screen with the document Jaya Hridaya Vasini, and then scroll down as I sing, so you can read the words of what it is being sung, the beautiful words. And this is, like I say, an eternal hymn to Ma. Yeah, so we start with what's called Matri Dhyana, and then it goes into the actual raga. What happened? Okay, so just follow along in what is being sung. Om Nritta Sahaja Samadhi Vipratim Hemakanti Nayana Sarasajamnam Sneharashi Kiran Manasikalata Bhakti Bhaktamanandayanti Smita Chinda Sharadantu Mataram Manditam Kapana Shakala Kalpani Kaparikshopaman Sharanagata Janana Vikalesha Pasha Vidaya Kamala Madhye Stapayat Vedamatu Vihita Vihitam Kalpam Modapitam Bhajan Sri Padamitam Smarani Sri Padamitam Namah Jani Nirmala Punya Vistari Maharaja Rajeswari Swaha Swadaha Gauri Pranavarupini Oma Sombya Sombya Satya Purnapara Omar Shashin Kundara Mahavyoma Kundara Vishwarupini Maheshwaraya Adima Madhurya Radima Mahima Mandira Marama Manmo Brahma Shanti Shantakshima Sarvadeva Sukada Varda Yanda Kilya Dai Vishwaprastavini Vishwapavini Vishwastanharini Murtima Kripa Trilokatari Omakara Karanya Veda Veda Sita Paramane Oma Vindya Vilmodini Yogi Janaram Jani Avakanchi Ishan Vika Veda Shiva Nikilya Vika Guna Sarupa Nirguna Nirpa Mahava. Om the Shara Shara Gati Nira Muramili Prani Prani Mako Pranami Sri Sharane Jaya 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 Prane Prane Mako Pranami Sri Sharane Jaya Jaya Mako Pranami Sri Sharane Jaya Jaya Okay, Johnny, you stop the sharing the screen. So that's another wonderful invocation. And boy, that brings back a lot of memories. In the Sikh tradition, they have the tradition of hukamam, which is every day or many different occurrences. They'll take the scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib, which we actually have over here, and they'll just open it up and consider that's the Guru's word for the day. So let's do a hukamam with Ma's Matrivani. And to see what Ma has to say to us on this day of her birthday, as we're all here together with this. Say, oh, Ma, Ma. Okay. Here's what Ma says. Ma Uvacha. For ages and ages, you have already enjoyed so much of eating and sleeping, worldly pleasures and comforts. The more one indulges in them, the more grows the desire to indulge. One must not give in to them. Man does not know at what particular time the divine power, the divine Shakti may manifest. Make up your mind never to abandon your practices, abandoning at that, use the word tat karma, until you have reached your goal. You must keep on exerting yourself, binding every minute of the 24 hours. The more the mind remains immersed in divine thought, the stronger will that power grow. And this very power is your companion on the path to the Supreme. Remember this. He alone knows to whom he will reveal himself and in which form. By what path and in what manner the Almighty attracts any particular person to himself with great force is beyond human intelligence. The path differs indeed for different pilgrims. Very often he destroys misfortune by misfortune and removes sorrow by sorrow. To advance in this spirit means for everyone to tread one's own path. One's own path is a path that leads to self-realization, to the supreme ultimate goal of self. So Ma wants us to carry on doing our practices. If you kind of distill what Ma always said, it was have a practice and attend to it every day regularly. This is everything comes by the grace of God. Everything comes by Ma's grace, but there is our own effort which is needed. So we have to do that practice. She most often, she said, as she just said, every person's practice will differ. Everyone's path will differ. But the most often thing she recommended was the name of God. To meditate the name of God, to say the mantra, the divine name of God. That's the most important thing. Good.
Can you read what was the last sentence again? It cut out for a second. Oh, or did you close it already? Never mind.
I closed it. We just said
That's okay.
The path is that path to realization.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Greg.
No, it's all perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Okay, what we want to do now is do this is our part. We're not doing a real form of puja. We want to do the pushpanjali, which is the offering of flowers. And you saw in the video that many times people were worshiping Ma and covering her with flowers and waving lights in front of her. And she never asked this. Ma was so humble, so simple, that she just moved through her life, but her presence was so divine and so energizing and so uplifting that was our response. The response to the devotee is we want to worship. So Ma accepted that. And so people did arati to Ma and puja and all this things. And she would usually, I've had occasion on, I think 3 times to personally do puja of Ma, to offer arati to Ma, to wave lights, to do in front of Ma myself. And I noticed, and I saw it many other times, and she would always just sit very quietly and go very bit deep inside. And soon she would go into samadhi, deep samadhi, and she would just be immersed in inner divinity. And so we were doing puja of infinite divinity in front of you. Yes. So like I say, Ma never asked anyone to worship her. She said back, she would always call herself this little girl. She would say, your little daughter says, she was always humble. But we loved to worship Ma because that was our response to her love, to offer something back. So we want to offer we have a lot of rose petals. And those of you who are at home, I sent out a letter saying if you want to also participate in home, if you have flower petals, you can also offer flower petals. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. We're going to do each one and just say, Om Ma Sharanam, and then you say, Om Ma, offer it 108 times. And then we'll put all the petals at Ma's feet. We have Ma's paduka here, the very sandals she wore on her feet, on her physical feet. So we're going to take a minute and kind of set up differently. And we're going to offer all these petals. So please come along with us. If you have petals or not, just offer it 108 times your own devotion of your heart to Ma. We're saying, Om Ma Sharanam. That means, Ma, I take refuge in you. And then we say, Om Ma, and offer the love and energy and prayers and devotion of our heart and gratitude for her presence and her calling us and for teaching us. So we offer that 108 times. So we're going to have to, okay, so we're going to set up a little differently. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to pull the screen back some, and we're going to sit we can face Ma, but we're going to offer the flowers onto this sari here, and then we'll pour them all on Ma's feet at the end, okay? So let's read, can you read?
Maybe some containers.
Okay,
please.
can you lift this up and take it and just put it in the counter, or just anywhere over there? Take it from the bottom. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so what you want to do is, if everybody can sit on either side of the this cloth. Okay, good. For ours.
We're gonna slow down a little bit.
Okay. We got a whole lot of petals. We run out. Just raise your hand. We'll try to attack Rainu, who's on duty. We're resupply flowers with people.
I'll watch you.
Everyone has flowers? We'll get some.
It's your light for. Light for 100.
Oh,
Yeah.
so oops, sorry.
This one is not.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And you can
Camera?
sit maybe back here. Everyone, so what we'll do is for all of us, we'll just, we can face Ma, but we'll go, I'll say Om Ma Sharanam, and we all say Om Ma, and get it and off it. And we'll just throw it all in here. And at the end, we'll pour it on Ma's feet. So just kind of throw your flowers right towards Ma in this direction. And the mudra for offering is the same mudra as turning a mala. It's these 2 middle fingers. So you pull these 2 middle fingers and say Swaha, Ma, Om Ma. Okay. Now count 108.
Do we put the
Let's do that for the odds. Okay, people move closer to the cloth. Yeah. That's enough.
No, I've got all those flowers out in the home park. I put it on.
Let's see. Are there just some dirt on it?
Let me. Yeah.
Okay, so everyone understands, well, you pick up the flowers, with these fingers, and I'll say Om Ma Sharanam, and we'll say Om Ma, and throw either you push in Ma's direction, and you want to end up with the flowers on this thing, then we'll pour all these. Okay. Everybody, can you sit there? If you want to pull a chair,
Room over here.
yeah, pull a chair. Get one more person, come over here. The one person sit over here. We've also had these little stools. Can't I see the stools?
Yeah, looks like Paisley chair, Paisley stool.
No, I mean.
We'll get there eventually. Hold on. Thank you for your patience. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Everybody in place? Sorry. Okay, I'll say some opening mantras and I'll pick up and I'll say Om Ma Sharanam, and then we'll all say Om Ma and put, towards Ma. And we think we're offering all the love and gratitude and love of our heart. Sarvamangala Shive Savaraka Sadhike Sharanye Yambike Gauri Narayani Namaste Krishnistati Vinashanam Shakti Bhute Sanatani Gunashre Gunamai Narayani Namaste Sharanagata Dinarita Paritana Parayane Sarvaskarti Hare Devi Narayani Namaste Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matra Rupena Sanstita Namaste Namo Namaha Om Bhavata Patanashiye Ananda Ghanamurtaye Yama Bhakti Pradayanye Matra Sudham Vishwa Anandamayi Mata Ki Jai. Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma, 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 Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma, Om Ma Sharanam, 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 Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma, Om Ma Sharanam, 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 May wonders of all the part of your left, and none of it Oh, man. Oh, man.
Oh.
Wonderful. Now what we do is we'll you'll take this whole cloth and just pour it over us.
Yeah.
And,
Can you pick up computer and then do it?
let's
This one.
It's the one on
Here's
that
the
side.
corner.
4 people on that side.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a slowly kind of shake it for we both hold this in. Good, good, good. Okay, here we go. Oh, Martha, good, good. Oh, March. There's more, there's more.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my. Wonderful. Hey, man. Now we're in with Artie. If people like, this has the words for my Artie, that's also done. I put them here so people can use them. Yes. So everyone, want everyone to do Artie? Actually, let's get the lines here. So when you'll have
Yep,
the
I got it.
oil refill
I
if you
got
need it. You had. So when you take in your right hand, you just breathe. This represents both the 5 senses, the 5 elements, however we think of it. And we just go clockwise, usually 3 times around Ma, however you feel. Fine. And I will sing this hymn, which we sing in our ashram in Indore Onkashwar to Ma, where it's also another revealed hymn of Ma. I'll sleep in it. Now everyone take a turn. We'll go first. They all Can somebody hand me another copy over there? You got the wrong book. Oh, don't tell Lisa, the wrong thing down. No. Oh, here it is. I got it. Okay, let's do it again. May all beings be happy, may all be free from suffering. We all look to the good of others, we all experience the unity of life. Blessed Holy lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. This fullness comes from that fullness. The fullness, taking the fullness that only fullness remains. Lord God, well, it looks like we're finished. Thank you all for joining us in this adoration of Anandamayi Ma. John, did you have on the screen the video, last link? At this point, our Ma Sharanam ashram and school in India is doing a fundraiser drive to get the funds for the next year's semester starting and paying the students. I think they're also getting some solar panels. There's a new video about the school, and John's putting the link up in the chat. You can copy that. It's a new link about the Ma Sharanam school. And if you want to give a donation for the school in India, it's just, you can do it from a credit card from this really secure app. The link is there also. And anything that you can give is really appreciated by the school. The money goes right to the people on the ground running this wonderful school for the village children, the very poor Adiwasi children, that's Aboriginal children in the Narmada Valley area. Okay, thank you all for coming. And our next month will be at the regular third Sunday. We'll have the regular satsang where we study Ma's words and everything. But this was all We're off to remember Ma's birthday. So, thank you all. Jai Ma, God bless you all.
Jai Ma.
Yeah, ma.
Hey, Ma.
Jai
Thank
Ma.
you.
Everyone.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, thank you.
Remember Jai Ma, everyone.
Thank you.
Jai Ma, everyone. See you next
Remind
month.
John to get the chat. The
See
chat.
you.
Hey, John, is any chat Sanskrit, John, transcript, John, copied and sent it to my email, okay? Okay,
John,
bye
is that you?
you all, Jai
Is that
Ma.
your
Oh,
YouTube
and then
channel?
wait, don't mind it so you can get the chat.
That's right. You don't need to listen.
I know being on the other side how that is.
Yeah.
You probably do it.